All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL video. Going to be getting into some best ball draft sleepers. I don't know if you guys have seen the terrible threads that are going on Twitter where people will be like, man, I've done 3,582 million best ball drafts. And because of that, these 5 players will give you a 300% more likelihood to win. Follow this thread. And like, oh my God, there's so much fluff out there right now for fantasy football and best ball drafts. But really, I have seen some really solid stacks out there. And for the most part, I do think people talking about team stacks and whatnot, especially when it comes to best ball drafts, are most likely fluff. Okay. Or they most of the time are just fluff related. And what I mean by that is just it's content fillers. Okay. And honestly, that's somewhat what I'm doing here. But I have found some really nice late round team stacks that you can do. And if they hit, it will help you out and be successful in those best ball drafts. Now, I don't think it's something that you guys have to go crazy with, but it is something you can test out. Okay. There are some late round ones that I think just make a lot of sense. And it could help you win. I'm not going to say it's gonna help you win. I'm not going to say it's going to give you an 80% chance to win your best ball league if you draft these guys. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and say I've done a million best ball drafts. I've done like 30. Okay. So these are going to be the guys that have stood out for me thus far with best ball drafts. So I will say the first kind of stack that I do like is kind of the Charger stack. Okay. Charger stack is kind of the most difficult one because, well, you do have to get Austin Ekeler in the first round. And I've seen him go, and I've taken him as the second overall pick in best ball drafts just to kind of test it out to see how he would do. I'm not saying do that, but you could do it. So what you would do is you would start off with Austin Ekeler here, who Austin Ekeler makes a lot of sense in best ball drafts. You could go with him if you want to. Obviously, go with him in the first round. That's kind of where he's going. And then from there it is where it gets kind of difficult because then Keenan Allen would be your next pick. And it really matters where you're drafting at. If you're drafting at like maybe the 7, 8, 9 spot, Austin Ekeler could fall to you, and then you should be able to get Keenan Allen there. People haven't loved him as much as I loved him, but you already got the Charger stack going at kind of an easy rate. And then from there is where it's difficult because Justin Herbert has to fall to you. Can he fall to you there? He can. Not a lot of people are going quarterback heavy, but at the very least, you could probably go Keenan Allen and then Justin Herbert and not have Austin Ekeler, kind of just depending on where your draft pick is there. But Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, and then in the very next round, you're kind of forced to go Mike Williams. Now that's not a stack that you could really realistically go out of your way and complete. If the pieces come together, it's one that I don't mind. I've tried to do it. I've gotten 3 out of those 4. Okay. And the part I like about it as well is that like currently it seems like Joshua Kelly is going to be the RB2 in that offense instead of Spiller, at least to start this season. I don't know. We're kind of basing that off of early training camp stuff. Obviously, Spiller looked good. Kelly looked good. We'll see. But you could draft one of those two very late and feel comfortable. You can draft Joshua Kelly very late and feel comfortable, okay? That's not what I wanted this video to be. I want this video to be late stacks that are going to actually help you out, okay? So here we go. This is the real start to the video. And we're scrolling, guys. So I don't mind this start. So Trey Lance, Brandon Ayuk, you could go with. Like, I don't mind that. Obviously, you could get Deebo Samuel early on in the draft. You could get George Kittle early on in the draft. In the second and third round, you get those 3 or those 2. Go Trey Lance and then Brandon Ayuk. You could easily do that as well. That's a stack that I don't mind. But I think kind of one of the most logical stacks is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Starting at Aaron Rodgers because he's currently going late in best ball drafts. I don't really think he's going to fall off too much. So you could easily go Aaron Rodgers as not only your first quarterback, but then you can load up on some of his receivers. Obviously, the receivers for the Green Bay Packers that we want to target are going to be the young receivers, okay? We are going to be looking, I'm just going to pull up receiver here. I was going to say he's not that high. So a lot of people are liking Alan Lazard. I don't really love Alan Lazard. I don't think he's going to be a number one receiver. I just don't see that happening. The one I do like a lot, and it's sad that he's kind of getting this much hype, but as a Packers fan, I kind of love it, is Romeo Doubs. You could easily go Aaron Rodgers, wait around, and then go Doubs. If you want to secure Doubs, you can go Aaron Rodgers, Doubs, feel good about it. Okay, that'd be how you start that stack. Okay, and that's a late round stack. I mean, he's going at freaking, like 140 pick. That's pretty crazy. And then from there, you could go Christian Watson, who's finally back at practice running routes. He kind of looks sharp. And then you got two rookie receivers that you really just need one of those to hit. And at their given ADPs, it's not going to hurt you at all in best ball drafts. And if it does hit, it's really only going to help you. It's only going to help you have a good season. From there, Sammy Watkins is still available. Randall Cobb is still available. Robert Tonyan is still available. Tonyan is coming back from injury. Okay, so really, who are we missing out on? A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. If you end up with one of those guys prior to that stack, cool. If not, you still have two receivers that could end up and probably will end up being the number one passing options in that offense eventually this season. Randall Cobb, who before he was injured actually had 3 games worth of starts. That's a decent stack. Okay. So from there, another stack that I absolutely love, and this is my favorite stack. This is really the reason why I decided to make this video. Mac Jones, guys. Mac Jones going at pick 151. Now, if you look at his game log, sure, it's not the prettiest, if you will. But he was extremely consistent. And if he's going to be better, a lot of reports are saying that he's going to be better this season, then yeah, I like Mac Jones. The thing with this stack is that you can easily make it work because there are so many the Patriots players getting drafted late, whether it's Damian Harris, whether it's Rhamondre Stevenson. You could go with that. And it kind of news broke today is that Rhamondre Stevenson is kind of expected to take the James White role, which actually bodes very well for Damian Harris. Now, if you're doing a team stack with Mac Jones, you probably would want the passing down back with Rhamondre Stevenson, but that's kind of a wait and see. The thing with it is all the top receiving options in this offense are going super late. So the first one is going to be Devontae Parker off the draft board, and I have to scroll down to find him because we're going to be scrolling a while here, guys. He is going super late, and this is one where you do your normal draft, okay, feel good about it, and then you're like, hey, let's see if I can get any of these late round stacks that Eric mentioned, okay? And it's kind of just one where you naturally end up doing it because you kind of need to fill out the roster a little bit more. Okay, I probably went past Devontae Parker, but you got Kendrick Bourne there, who Kendrick Bourne last year had a ton of starts gains is what I'm looking at, games in which he earned you a start in best ball drafts. And even with Devontae Parker being there, I don't exactly see that going away. And he's someone you can get in the second to last round. I mean, he's going in pick 206, which is insanely cheap for him. So yeah, Devontae Parker, pick 138. So what you probably have to do is go, it depends how the quarterback drafts go, obviously. Mac Jones, Parker, and then you could go Henry. Oh, Hunter Henry, guys, I actually like a lot. So if we're looking at Hunter Henry, compared to some of the other tight ends that are getting drafted above him, it doesn't really make sense. So Hunter Henry here, 9 targets on the season, 633 yards. I honestly don't think that's going to change at all too much, okay? You look at someone like Dawson Knox, who 11 touchdowns, 658 yards. A lot of people are really betting on Dawson Knox because they missed out on him last year. Kind of same thing with Dalton Schultz. I mean, I know Dalton Schultz, people love him, but you can get this same stack with kind of same people at a lot cheaper and a lot easier. And I didn't even mention Jacoby Myers, who is also going extremely late. Okay, Jacoby Myers is going after Devontae Parker at pick 152. So even if you get 3 out of those 4 or 5, you're sitting well. And then really the last team stack that I want to touch on is a fun one, I think. Okay, because I already mentioned how I think Ryan Tannehill is just going too late in drafts right now for fantasy football purposes. Okay, he's an uber consistent player. Sure, you're drafting him as your backup. We know that, and that's kind of why I like these stacks, because you're drafting them as backups. But if both of them hit, you're sitting well for that week. So if like Ryan Tannehill has a good week, or Ryan Tannehill is going against a terrible opponent, your investment on the stack is very low, and it could really help you out. So. And I already mentioned, very, very consistent there, guys. So Ryan Tannehill at quarterback as like your second, maybe third string quarterback, and you're feeling pretty good about him at pick 178. Like that's a steal. And then a player that's been getting a lot of hype out of camp is Austin Hooper. Okay. He is liking Austin Hooper apparently. Okay. And Austin Hooper pick 265 apparently. Well, ADP, I guess. I don't know. What is this? What the heck? Oh, rank 265. That's mine apparently. I don't know. Whatever. ADP is around 170, which is a great ADP as well. Okay, that's a great stack. Start. To continue that stack, you go with, let's see here, Robert Woods at 109. I don't love that. You could go Treylon Burks at 116. Like, you could do that, but kind of the whole point of these stacks are you're starting with a quarterback because they're there, and then you're completing it. It's the third or second string receiver in Westbrook. I don't know how to say his name. I always butcher his name, but Ryan Tannehill says he's liking him. He had a couple of games in which he did pop. He could have earned you 1, 2, 3 starts last year. If he doubles that this year, that's huge. And obviously, if you're stacking it with Ryan Tannehill, the likelihood of that stack kind of hitting is a lot more. But that's it, guys. So Charger stack, you could try to execute. I kind of showed you guys that for a reason, because it is harder to make those high-end stacks really work. But you could look at a stack like the Green Bay Packers, because that is a super cheap stack that could really pay off. I mean, obviously, Rodgers has been the 2-time MVP. He's going to need to spread it around a lot more. 2 rookie receivers that are, gaining a decent amount of hype. Romeo Doubs is getting a ton. And then you look at the Patriots. The Patriots is just such a cheap stack across the board. I mean, you could theoretically draft a Patriots player. You shouldn't do this because of bye weeks, but like 5 straight draft picks in a row and feel good about it besides that bye week. And that's kind of where team stacks aren't the best. That's why you don't want to go too crazy with it. And that's why I don't mind the Ryan Tannehill stack of Westbrook, of Tannehill, of Hooper. Okay. Those are stacks that can hit, and those are stacks that I like. And just real quick before I end off, man, Evan Ingram and Tyler Conklin, 2 tight end sleepers that I really don't mind. But that's all I have for you guys for the team stacks best ball draft video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. And as always, let's keep cashing.